I went to homecoming. I went to the football games. But this year I'll actually be in Vegas during my homecoming. But that's okay because Vegas is better than homecoming. But
press release came across my desk. That's what the old folks used to say. Well, okay, I got a press release in my email in regards to Katie Hettinger heading out to the West Coast here in the Freak Nation. And it caught my eye, so I said, yep, let's get her in here. She's on the move, and she joins us now here in the Freak Nation, the Lucas Oil Studios, and she's on the move to the West Coast to run the bull ring in the ARCA West Series after kicking butt at the Hickory track. But before we get into all that madness, Katie, let's get past the fact that you're a woman kicking some butt. You're a 15-year-old kicking the butt of old men and women out there. Where do these skills come from, Katie?
I think that I've just been racing for a while now. You know, my grandpa raced and my dad raced, so they're both really great coaches, and they taught me everything I know.
Hold on just a second. I know Statman wants to ask this question. Why are you paying attention to your dad and your grandpa? At 15 years old, those are the last two people I wanted to listen to.
They're my role models, you know. My grandpa was my best friend. He passed a few years ago, unfortunately, but NASCAR was our goal growing up. We always watched NASCAR races together. So me and my dad and my whole family, you know, we're working really hard so I can get up there.
Now, one thing that caught my eye, Katie Hettinger joining us here in the Freak Nation, 15-year-old, headed out west in October to run the ARCA West Racing Series, of course, running on those General tires, was all the success that you had at the legendary track of Hickory. Do you have a plaque up there? I mean, what you're doing there with these race wins and championships and so forth, you're doing something not a lot of people have. Do you have that track figured out?
I think so. My car owner, Matt Piercy, he was a champion there in 2015, so he knows the track really good. We've tested a lot there. I think we know it pretty good now. It's a really fun track, too. It's a little rough, but it's a fun track to always go back and race at.
Then what can translate from there to come West Coast with you? To when you come to the bull ring in Las Vegas, is there anything that can translate, or how is your approach to that track?
I think the bull ring, it's a smaller track, so I think my short track experience will help me with that. And I raced the bull ring on the simulator a little bit back during COVID. So I'm just really excited to go out there and be able to run these ARCA races.
How do you find that the simulator helps you with real-time experience on track, but in seat conditions? Because, yeah, that became a huge way for people to stay in shape, so to speak, during COVID. But how has it helped you personally doing iRacing sorts of gigs?
I think it just helps me better with knowing the track. My pedals are different than my car, you know, like all that stuff is different, but understanding my lift points and just looking at what the track is and everything, I think that helps me the most.
And then is there anybody, who are you talking to when you're doing your iRacing, or are you talking to anybody? Do you prefer it quiet?
Sometimes I run on my own, but mostly when we go to a new track, my car owner, Matt, we do a Zoom call and we watch film for about an hour or so, go over some points about the track. And then he doesn't have a headset, so we stay on Zoom and then we run some testing together and everything.
Katie,
wow.
Katie Hettinger is the winningest female at Hickory Motor Speedway in North Carolina. That's where stock car veterans go to learn how to race. And Katie is sending them home. They're younger than some of their daughters probably, and she's sending them home.
Yes.
Katie, let me ask you some questions that don't have anything to do with racing. You said that you involved in volleyball and basketball in high school. Most racers don't participate in team sports. They'd rather do individual sports. You think the volleyball and the basketball are going to survive your growth in racing?
Well, those are sports I play with my school. So last year I was on the varsity team for both those sports. This year I made the varsity volleyball team. But I've missed a lot, so it's been really hard. And I'm going to go online here in a little bit, so I won't be able to play those sports anymore, but they really help me stay in shape, and there's different things about the sports that I think helped with racing and everything. And it was just a high school experience that I was still able to get while still racing.
General Tire delivers.
Kind of music do you listen to? It used to be an iPod, but now what is that playlist? What's your playlist for Spotify or Pandora or whatever they use nowadays? What kind of music you like to listen to?
My playlist on Spotify is mostly country. That's what I usually listen to. But sometimes before the race, I'll add a little pump up song sometimes.
Like you got a favorite go-to for a pump up song?
I don't know. Usually my pump up songs are like still kind of country songs. So there's an artist Hardy, and he has some pretty like bad songs that I listen to.
It doesn't matter what your pump up song is. If it pumps you up, then that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what anybody else thinks.
Well, you got to be careful about that one, Crash. Some of those songs for a 15-year-old sitting in their parents' room may not be the thing that the parents want to hear that she's listening to. I was listening to some of those country songs, and I blush a little bit.
Wow. There you go, Freak Nation. A 15-year-old making Statman blush here in the Freak Nation.
Well, enough said.
Katie Hettinger joining us here at the Freaks, Lucas Oil Studios, running on those General Tires in the ARCA West Series coming up in October. Have you had conversations with your parents or maybe some other drivers that went headlong into driving and they missed some of those special moments in high school? Granted, you're 15. You're not 17 or even 18. You're 15. And some of them look back and think, I missed my prom. I missed those Friday night football games. Are you there yet? Have you had those conversations?
Well, I know some of my competitors, most of them still go to school, but some of them do online. And I just think one thing that high school helps with is like showing personality and understanding, I guess, like inside humor as an example, like just kind of understanding that things when talking to people. So I think my freshman year of high school, I experienced all that. I went to homecoming, I went to the football games. But this year I'll actually be in Vegas during my homecoming. But that's okay because Vegas is better than homecoming. But I'm glad I got to experience those things my freshman year. Maybe my senior year I might go back, but racing is what I want to do. So I'm going to keep doing that.
That's the sentence of this conversation. Vegas is better than homecoming. A lot of the kids that go to homecoming wish they were in Vegas or are trying to get to Vegas, but you're going to be there enjoying yourself racing in the bull ring. That's the sentence that everybody ought to hear from Katie Hettinger.
A lot of the girls at school keep asking me, they're like, "Oh, did you get your homecoming dress yet? What are you wearing at homecoming?" I was like, "Oh, I'm just going to be wearing my race suit." Like
suit, yeah.
Yep.
They're not asking you about some of the guys that you're racing against. Some of those guys are hunky kind of guys, aren't they? Do they still say that?
I don't know.
Hunky.
Hey,
That's about 3 generations ago, stat man.
Whatever the translation is across the generations, some of those guys are big, and the women are attracted to them, aren't they?
I don't know, not me. I'm attracted to the race cars. So.
Yes.
There you go. That's her. Yeah, that is her homecoming date. It is her Chevrolet.
Smartest thing you've learned is pay attention to the race car, not to the fellas, man. Who chooses your schedule? Who chooses that this is where Katie's going to race?
Really, we kind of all decided together. My car owners, my dad, me and my family, just depending on what's going on. Sometimes if I have an off weekend or something and Hickory's racing or a small track by us, I'll be like, "Hey, Dad, can we go run?" So it just depends what we're doing and if we're able to do it.
Hey, Dad, what are you going to buy at the store today?
I'm out of Lucas Oil fuel treatment, so let's jump in here and grab us some.
Well, do they have the Lucas Oil parts cleaner and degreaser?
I bet they do.
Well, how about the Lucas Oil power steering fluid?
They'll have that too.
Even the octane booster?
I won't be surprised if they do.
My favorite red and tacky grease?
Yes, they will, babe.
Dad, when we're done, can we grab some candy?
Deal, but you gotta share.
Awesome! Lucas works.
And then with school, though, because you made a comment that you're going online soon, how was that decision made? Because it seemingly just my mind popped into, the off season is coming up, off season for racing. So stay in school until racing gets back again. But is that not what you're thinking?
So last year I missed quite a bit of school, not as much as I have so far this year. We've been in school for like 2 months now, and I have a lot of absences already. But we were looking actually last night, and in the month of October, I will only be at school 10 days. So the school doesn't really like that. And then during the off season, we are going to be testing a lot. I might be running some indoor stuff, testing still. So I'll still probably be in the seat quite a bit. And then in January, my season starts up again. So.
Oh, in January.
Yeah, there's a couple things in January that we're going to run. But mostly February, there's a big race and everything. And then we start.
Wow. That's just, it is. It's truly never ending. It's year round.
Have you had any conversations with some current professional female drivers?
Not really. I met Haley Deegan once. I met Tony Rydinger. They're pretty cool. But not any like higher up. Like I haven't met Danica Patrick or anything like that. Which that's one thing that's pushing me is once I make it, I want to like come back to late model races and small track races. So then when more females are coming up through the sport, they can come talk to me or ask me for advice.
I love that because yes, this is a sport that starts grassroots level and then you work your way up. And you're right. We're kind of missing those big names who have made it, who can come back and give you guys the advice. Wow. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, that's always been a goal of mine is after I make it to NASCAR, once I retire and everything, I want to run my own race team. So I am a huge dirt fan, so I want to run a sprint car team, and then I'd also love to have a late model team too.
Hello, Coca-Cola, are you hearing this? Wow. That's awesome. Yeah, she's got her future planned. This is perfect.
Yep. So many things that we've gleaned from these last 10, 12 minutes. It's incredible.
Yes, this is going to be fun to follow you.
Yeah. Well, Freak Nation, October 14th, the Bull Ring in Las Vegas. She makes her ARCA West appearance running on those General tires. Her name is Katie Hettinger here in the Freak Nation. I got a feeling we'll be hearing more from you, Katie. Thank you very much for doing this.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me.